Welcome to another how-to tutorial here at Brizy. I am JP, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how you can create a pop-up for your site, and so that when people come to your site and maybe before they leave there is a pop-up that appears and then tells them, hey, before you go, we've got a special, and if you give us your email address, we will send you that special, a voucher or some kind of freebie. To explain that a little bit more in concrete forms, because sometimes things can get very abstract in the world of website making. Here I have a very nice website, very simple and elegant, and this is for a private tutor of violin lessons and composition. So what you typically have here, like at the bottom, you will see here, she says my services, violin lessons, and then song composition. So hopefully what she is hoping for is that any mother or father or any aspiring creative person who wants to learn the violin will go online, search, and if the search engine is nice to her, you will come across her website. Then when you come to her website, you will say, okay, violin lesson, song composition, very interesting, but maybe you will then just leave. Now that's where the pop-up comes in. The pop-up is that thing that draws your attention, and that's why the word is so applicable. Pop up, it just pops into your face. And of course, we all know it can also be super, super annoying. So how can we do this? How we are going to help her is that we are going to take her site and we are going to set a pop-up with a trigger and a condition. And those are just instructions to the pop-up. We tell the pop-up, hey, when someone comes to this site and when they plan to leave this site, we want you to pop up and we want you to put this advertisement in their face. And that's what we are going to do with this tutorial. The other thing that we will touch on briefly then is also mailers, which is things like MailChimp, MailerLite. There's quite a number of them. That in the old days, we just call them distribution lists, but these days they go by all kinds of la-di-da and fancy names. In the end, they are a very nice platform to collect email addresses so that you can reach out to people. Of course, the big reason you want those email addresses is so that you can start a campaign, you can get in touch with people, you can sell yourself, you can give them discounts, and you can keep in contact with them. Now, first business is that when you are doing pop-ups in Brizy, you will need to have Brizy Pro installed. Let's go into the administration area in the back end and just go to our plugins over here. And you will see that I've got Brizy and then Brizy Pro. You will need Brizy Pro for that. If you don't have Brizy Pro, and I'm going to deactivate it for now, you will see that when you go here to Brizy, you will have the options of Role Manager, Templates, Leads, and Optimize Images. The moment you activate it, you will get a few more options. Now you go to Brizy and you will see templates, pop-ups, integration, leads. These all appear over here. Don't let the jargon throw you off. If you are not used to these terms, just look at the practical application of what we will be doing here. Now what I will do is I will keep a copy of the website open. So what I'll do, I'll go here to the top and control click, command click on a Mac. It will open a new tab here, and this will give us the front end of our business. I'll just leave it there so we can flip between the back and the front as we go through this tutorial. Right, so let's go and create that pop-up. So we go to Brizy here and then click on pop-ups. Very simple, click on add new, we create one and you just give it a title. We're going to say free lesson demo. And then we click on publish. And then after that, edit with Brizy. This will give you the Brizy builder and you'll think, am I building a page here? Strictly speaking, yes, you are. Actually, what you're building is just one block. So when you click here on start building your pop-up, you're going to get the ability to have a blank pop-up, or you can use any of these pre-made pop-ups. Now, what's very important here? You want to grab an email address. You want somebody who comes to your site to give you their email address. So if you're going to use one of these pre-made blocks, look for those that have the word subscribe, or anywhere you can see there's an email field in there. Those one will perfectly for you. So for example, there's one here, also over here, join us, get our weekly newsletter. So that's kind of what you want. I'm going to go for this one here. Let's click on this. And it will load the pop-up. So what I want to do, as this pop-up is here, I'm just going to update it here in the bottom. Command Control S shortcut key for that. Let's go to the front end here. And now I'm going to refresh this page and you will see what will happen. And the pop-up appears. We're going to make a few changes. Let's first go and make some content changes. Now, content, we always talk about color, we talk about fonts, and we talk about images. In this case, I'm going to leave the images, I'm going to leave the color and the fonts, but I'm just going to change a little bit here for the context so that it looks at least a little bit different. Jump back into the back end, and now you're going to approach this pop-up just like you would in the Brizy Builder. If you want to do this, get a free lesson. Let's just say free lesson. Keep that in caps. And I'm just going to go over here, reduce the size a little bit so it can fit in one. And remember, as you go through this, you have to also go and check for your tablet mode as well as for your mobile mode to make sure that it will look good on those responsive displays. Don't forget that, because I always forget that. And then here, sign up today or reach out. I'll be there. Reach out and get a freebie. So then something more here. I'm saying exactly the same thing again and again. Get one lesson for free. Contact us now below. Contact us below now. Contact us now below. Maybe I should put a comma in there or somewhere. And then this is where the magic is going to happen, because they're going to put the email address here. They're going to click on subscribe, and bada bing, bada boom. Everything is going to be working perfectly. Yes, but no, because we have to set that up first. Let's just save here and go see on the front end how those changes will reflect. Okay, and there it is. Right, so let's talk about this email address. Now, you are going to collect those email addresses, and there are a number of ways that you can do it. The simplest way of doing that is just to use the integrated WordPress system. And how to do that is you go here, as you will see that this field and this subscribe button is part of one element. And this element is our form element. If you go up here to add elements, you will see form over here. Click here on your button, and this is where you do all the setup. Go here. And you will see you have the option of WordPress, SMT, as well as Gmail. We're only going to focus on WordPress. Click on that. And over here, you will put in your email address. So what will happen, put in your email address, and after you're done, you just click on continue, and I'm going to leave that email address and click done. Let's update our work to lock all of that information in. Go to the front end and refresh again. Somebody comes to your site, they will enter it. It will be Samantha at google.google and click on subscribe. And I'm not using real email addresses. Your email was sent successfully. So where are you going to get this email address? Go up here, click on it to get into the administration area for your background. And then when you go to Brizy, you will see where it says leads. This is where those email addresses will be captured. And you can see over here, it says your email, Samantha at google.google. And what you can do, of course, here is you can come, and every time somebody signs up, you can grab their email address and you can send them an email. Now, I know many people will just tell me, oh, JB, that is so cumbersome. There are many other ways to do it, but I just want to stress this is how you can do it, and there's nothing wrong with it. I know people like my father, who will be very happy to come and copy each of these email addresses, right-click copy, and paste it manually in Excel. So there are different strokes for different folks, and I'm showing you this. This is the very basic foundation, and if all else fails, remember this is where it is. But let's speed it up. And the way you're going to speed this up is by mailer integration. Now, the most famous mailer integration is probably MailChimp. I've opened MailChimp here, and if you go to MailChimp, there are free plans for you to work with in MailChimp. And you can also check our videos on mailer integration to see how to set up MailChimp. So what a mailer does, and MailChimp is not the only one, there are quite a number of them, is that they collect these email addresses for you into one nice distribution list. And then within MailChimp, you can send out emails and you can make it look very nice, very, very, very interactive in some cases even. And it's an automated process. So instead of going into the lead every time, copy everything and paste it and building up your own distribution list, What will happen is that when Samantha comes to your website and she types in her email address, that email address will be automatically sent to MailChimp, and it will be put there in a distribution list so that you don't need to do all that manual work. So MailChimp is one, but I'm going to go for MailerLite. And the only reason I'm going for MailerLite is because I set it up earlier, and MailerLite also has free options available. All of them work more or less the same. The only thing that's very confusing, and that's why I would recommend you don't jump between mailers, is they all go and use different terminology. So one will use links and the other one will use associates and all kinds of weird terminology. And it takes some time to get used to one. And when you jump to the next one, you're like, wait a minute, how do they group things again? So get used to one and try and stick to that one. Okay, so here is MailChimp. I'm going to close that out. I'm going to be working with MailerLite, but it's exactly the same kind of concept that when you work with these mailers. Let's go back here. We go to our front end just to open our front end again, and we will have a pop-up appear there. So we want that email address to pop here into MailerLite. Let's go to the back end again. Now when I go here to subscribe, I click on the button and click here on this option for my integrations. You will see up here it says apps. And when I click on that, the first one, our good friend MailChimp, appears over here together with how many others? 11? I'm trying to count and not look like a fool. 11 others, yes. There's Sendinblue, Zapier, and Zapier is going to be your big friend if your integration doesn't appear here. Let's go down here to MailerLite where I'm subscribed, and when you click on it, it's going to ask you to log into MailerLite. So I click on this, and it will ask me to provide my API key. To do that, you go into MailerLite, you go to your dashboard, and that's over here, and you will see there's an option that says integrations. And under integrations, when you go into it, it's going to give you your first option of developer API. If you are not a techie, you just go through these terms like you would go through a car wash or anything where you just throw in the money and you don't really look at what you're doing. You just try to get to that end point. And this is where I need you to get, is to this area where it says API. Then you click on use. Here you will have a key that you will copy. And I'm not going to show you this. Hopefully I've successfully blurred it out because each one of you will have your own API key. It's like your secret key. Then you go back into Brizy, and there where it had asked you to enter your API key, you're going to paste it. Now, some of these mailers will have API keys. Some will ask you secret keys. Each one of them will have a different form of encryption. My account now here is now connected to this form. All I need to do is click on continue. Now it's going to look within my MailerLite account. And it's going to tell me you've got two groups there. You've got one group called Random Group, and you've got another group called Textile CSR. These are my two distribution lists, which I have within MailerLite. So which of these two do I want to use? And you will see that when I go to MailerLite and I go to groups, I have these two over here. But for this specific one, I want a new group. So I can create a new group here, but I'm not going to do that because guess what? You can do that within Brizy. So let's go back to the back end, and you see over here it says create a new list. I click on that and I'm going to say free violin lesson, or should I say torture, and click on create, and it's going to create that new distribution list for me. You see there, free violin lesson, continue. And to check that that list had actually been created, you can go back into your mailer. Let's refresh this, and you will see that free violin lesson appears over here now. Back end again, and it's going to say, how many fields do you have in that form? I've got only one field. It's my email field, and I'm going to link it to an email field. You always need that little email field there. Simple as that, and click on continue. And you are done. Let's save here, Control Command S, go to the front end, reload. And this time we type in Samantha@hotmail.hotmail. I wonder if I'm breaking some kind of law by playing around with those extensions. Right, so it says your email was sent successfully. Let's go to our mailer and we refresh it. And if all went according to plan, free violin lesson, there's one subscriber, Let's click on that. Who is this? And it's Samantha at hotmail.hotmail. So now you have grabbed that lead. You have grabbed that email address from Samantha, and you can send her the coupon for that free lesson. Of course, you actually want her email so that you can send her many discounts in the future and hopefully make her a recurring customer, or her children, or somebody else that she may know of. But that's not the end of it, because as you have seen, this pop-up just pops up every time somebody reloads this page. And that means every time I reload this page, boop, there it is. And tomorrow Samantha comes again and boop, there it is. And she closes it. This can be extremely boring. She goes to About Me page. Boop, there it is. Oh, it's getting boring. She goes to the contact page to contact me. And guess what? You can guess it already, right? And boom, there it is. So we have control over that. We don't like that. It can be very annoying. Sometimes you want to be a little bit in the face, but not all the time, especially not when you're a violin teacher. I don't think you want to give that kind of impression. To control that, we have what we call conditions and triggers. Now, a condition and a trigger is an instruction to the pop-up when and where to appear. Let's go to the back end, and here within our pop-up builder, you go up here to, you see the little settings over here for the block settings, and click on that all the way to the left, and you will see display conditions over here. Click on that and you get the triggers and conditions splash screen. First one is triggers, and one of them that I will activate is trigger pop-up only once. What this means is that when somebody comes to your site, that pop-up will only appear once for them, not like we just saw it appear all the time. Why is it switched off when I say you should switch it on? And the reason it is by default off is while you are building your site, you will want to test it. And to test it, you will need to leave it off so that you can see every time when you load a new page whether that pop-up will appear. If you switch it off, it will only work once, and after that you won't be able during that session to see that pop up again. So just remember that. So we're going to leave it off for now. No, let's switch it on because we want to make it work. And then we are going to use one of these triggers. We are going to say a trigger says when should it appear. And I want it to appear on page exit intent. Now, this is a smart feature. I wonder who thought of this, but this is one of those great features. On page exit intent makes the pop-up appear the moment the visitor wants to leave your site. Right, I'm going to switch it off again because if I don't switch it off, we won't be able to see it. Save it. Click there. Let's save our work again. And then let's go to the front end and refresh. Right, so here is our page now. And as I scroll up and down, what has happened to the pop-up? Now that pop-up is waiting for the instruction, that trigger, the intention to exit. How will the pop-up know that that is what you're planning to do? It will know the moment your cursor moves out of this screen real estate for your website. So look at the cursor, and the moment it moves up here, it appears. And the assumption is that the cursor moves up here to switch maybe to another tab, or to close your browser, or to type in a new address. So it's saying, hey man, why on earth would you want to put your cursor up there? It means you want to leave. So whoa, before you leave, free lesson, buddy. Reach out and get a freebie. And then you type in your email address there, and it goes into the distribution list over at MailerLite or MailChimp or whichever mailer you are using. And this way you can get those leads, you can get those emails. There are quite a number of these conditions and triggers that you can play around with for those that suit your need. I love the on exit intent one. Another one that's also very, very highly recommendable. We go up here to the settings all the way to the left, display conditions, and then you click here, you go to this one on scroll. Click on it. And you've got three options here. I like down and I also like up. So down will determine how much of the page have you viewed. And at a certain percentage, it will trigger that pop-up. So if I click in here and you see it says percentage of page height, I'm going to type in 60, save it, then click out here, update. Go to the front and let's refresh this page. If you look here on the right, the scroll bar, this is the entire 100% you can scroll. So around here where it is 60% of the scroll bar, that pop-up should appear. So if I grab this scroll bar and I just do this around here, there we go. It appears at the 60% mark. Absolutely awesome. So remember that your pop-up will now appear on every page that you go to because we have deactivated show only once. So I'm here in my About Me page. If I click and drag it and I get to that 60% mark, again, there it appears. And that's going to happen on all the Brizy pages within this website. When you are done then, the last thing I would say then is remember to go here to your settings, display conditions, and trigger pop-up only once to activate it so that you do not flood your visitors with the same annoying pop-up again and again and again, especially for those that have already signed up. Right, I hope that was useful. We have a lot of tutorials on pop-ups. Throw us a few more questions down below if you want to see more on what you can do with pop-ups. See you next time. JP here signing off.